If you live in Southwest Florida and you're watching this show, we could make the argument that you have good taste. And taste is what we're after in this week's show as we look at hot new restaurants. Kicking off the food tour is Tim on the Town. In the Know columnist Tim Ayton gets a first look at a new Naples restaurant that has tongues wagging.
It smells good in here. That's just the wood, that's not even food.
Next up, it's Lee County's turn at the table. Food writer Annabelle Tomtek dishes on tasty options that are worth a try. Then think beef, or cows at least. An ode to days gone by as a cattle drive hits the road in Collier County. We'll have those stories along with the latest in our Positively Healthy Medical series. I'm Amy Osher, and this is Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. Thanks for joining us. It's likely the trendiest street in all of Southwest Florida. The main draw being luxury shopping and fine dining. Naples 5th Avenue South is a frequent stop for Tim Ayton, scoping out new hot spots. In this installment of Tim on the Town, our In the Know guy is about to set sail. Tim, it's nice to check out some new restaurants with you. Now, the one you're taking us to today, you said is like the hot new restaurant this season?
Yeah, this is Sales Restaurant, and it's really a cool place because they took an old bank. This was formerly a bank, and they just completely gutted it and made this is a very lavish restaurant.
How would you describe the cuisine? Is it European?
It's
seafood?
European. It's they're kind of going after like a French Riviera kind of place where it's fine dining, but anyone's welcome. So you can come in off the beach, even though it's a white tablecloth restaurant, but it's mostly seafood.
Well, let's see if they welcome us.
Yeah, come on.
And you must be one of the owners. My name is Amy.
Amy, Corinne Ryan. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And this is your...
Velko. My fiance, Velko. Welcome to Sales Restaurant.
Thank you for having us. Can you show us around?
Of course we can. Just walk this way. We're walking towards our handcrafted mosaic over here. Was made by a local artist. 22,000 individual glass pieces went into this piece.
Oh, wow. It's beautiful, this bar too. I can't help but notice. It's stunning.
Yes, handcrafted in Greek marble. Velko here went to Greece and handpicked 3 large stones from the quarries in Greece. We wanted to make sure that we had this the rust color that you will see ever so slightly in there to match the cognac leather chairs. The wine cabinets over here, all made of French oak to match the French oak flooring.
This is some wine area. You said these are all individually climate controlled?
Yeah, all individually climate controlled. We have the wine lockers here on the right hand side, which we're the only restaurant in Florida to have climate controlled wine lockers.
Tell us about this mosaic. This is very stunning.
Yeah, this is handcrafted in Europe of Italian stone. Took 6 artists 4 weeks to make this by hand.
It's in front of this is just unreal too. When you come in and you get a shot of this.
Every day we're flying in fresh seafood from the Mediterranean, from Australia, New Zealand, as well as the Northeast, wherever Chef Jacob can find the freshest on the day. So it's ever changing every single day.
You created the menu, right? And so what did they tell you? What kind of restaurant were they looking for? What kind of cuisine?
Anything that would be essentially echoing the experience that one would find on a coastal shore of the Mediterranean. We wanted to focus on the northern shore, primarily France, Greece, and Italy, and just to be able to capture as much of that experience and that quality of life that you would find touring throughout that region of the world.
And really, would you say this kind of cements 5th Avenue South's reputation as a dining epicenter?
Well, this definitely adds to it. I mean, I think raises the bar a notch clearly, and I think that it's definitely a destination restaurant that hopefully will be around for a long time.
The food scene in Lee County is also heating up, with chef-driven restaurants popping up all over, which is why we invited our News Press food writer in for a sit-down. Annabelle is our food writer for the News Press. Is that a title you don't hear that often now, somebody that specifically just does food?
I guess I think you're maybe hearing a little bit more of it lately, just because food is such a passion topic in this area. But yeah, I think the News Press has been really forward thinking and generous and kind of just letting me do the food thing and not worry about other things, and just do restaurants opening and closing and business trends and food trends and that kind of stuff. And it's fun.
And it's
a lot
really
of fun.
changed probably. I don't know how long you've been covering it, but
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen a lot of growth in kind of our restaurant offerings in the
Right.
past few years.
Yeah, I mean the restaurant scene in Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Naples is amazing. Just the development and growth and the different kinds of restaurants you're seeing these days, and places that you never in a million years think would come to Fort Myers, even 10, 15 years ago are now, not just coming here, but having success here, which is
I love
really
the
nice to
diversity that
see.
we're getting now. So it's not just a grouper sandwich for people on
Right.
vacation everywhere you go. You said we're seeing a lot of new flavors, some new
Oh, yeah.
ethnic cuisines coming in. What are
Yeah.
some of your notables?
Silk Road is a great little place. They're actually an Uzbekistan restaurant. The owners are from Uzbekistan. I think our food critic gave them a great review. It's kind of Central Asian flavors. So the idea is it's a little bit Middle Eastern, it's a little bit Russian, it's a little bit,
What are some of the
Far
dishes that?
East.
Because I don't know that I know any dishes
I
from
mean,
that
that's
area.
kind of the magic of going to that place is you kind of just go down this little rabbit hole and you end up where you end up, and everything's a little bit familiar but then not. So they have a pilaf dish that's it's kind of like a traditional pilaf, but the flavors are just the fragrances and the spices that are put in there are just completely different. So it's like you recognize it as a rice dish, but then you kind of get a couple bites in and you're like, what is this?
They're really good. Well
They're
done.
really, really good and well done. And they have the kebabs, which pull from the Middle Eastern part. They have the dumplings, which kind of pull a little bit from the Chinese side, but then also the pierogi kind of style. So, I guess nowadays people will call it a fusion, but I think when you come from Uzbekistan or Afghanistan or that part of the country,
That's how they eat there anyway.
exactly, that's just where the flavors ended up.
And I
So.
hear that's a beautiful restaurant though, isn't it?
Stunning, yeah. The owners did a really nice job making it look as nice as it tastes, which is,
What's
not always
also
the
like a
case.
nice contrast is that some of the restaurants that are really tasty in Lee County are very mom and pop though.
Oh, yeah.
They might be just a little very unassuming restaurant.
We are the king of the hole-in-the-wall dive, taquerias and the hole-in-the-wall Honduran places, and we have some amazing El Salvadorian restaurants that make these handmade little pupusas, and you kind of, if you're not looking around, you're just eating. You're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then you kind of look around, and it's everyone's blue collar around you. There's not a lot of English being spoken, and I think that almost is a nicer setting in some ways, though, because you feel like
Very
you're
authentic.
actually you're getting something that's genuine.
You mentioned there's a Leone's there that reopened, not to be confused with the chain though.
Yes, no, Leone''S. So Mama Leone is back. She's in Cape Coral. She retired. I think everyone worried that she was kind of done for. She's, I think, in her late 70s now, so she's getting up there. They were one of the oldest restaurants in Cape Coral. They opened originally in the mid-1970s. And they're still kicking. The son makes all the pizzas. Mama Leone's there every single day. She makes all the sausages from scratch.
I was going to ask you if I went there if I was going to want pizza or spaghetti or what.
I know. Well, okay, if you go on Thursday, you have to get the pasta fagioli because Mama Leone makes her pasta fagioli only on Thursdays, and it's amazing. Her son does pizzas every day, so if it's not Thursday, the pizza's always a good fallback, or any of the sandwiches. They bake all their own breads there. And then they have a fresh case too, where they sell her sausage. I think you can buy the sausages and sandwiches too, but she makes them all right there. She's grinding the sausage by hand. She's chopping the parsley by hand. She's picking the stems off the parsley and
How
just
neat.
doing really, really good.
Well, it sounds like it's worth the trip.
old-fashioned
You
stuff.
also mentioned that they're nice Cuban that you can get there now. Is it more of an artisan style or is it a very traditional Cuban sandwich?
So Artisan Eatery, I don't know that I'd call them an ethnic restaurant, but he's just, the couple who owns that place are just really passionate about food. He was a chef for a long time down here in Naples, moved up to Fort Myers, opened a little place of his own. They call it fast fine dining, so you get the, that quick, fast casual experience, but the from scratch chef kind of food that you'd expect from a higher end restaurant. And he does a Cuban sandwich that's just phenomenal and completely untraditional. I think people who, you know, are purists with the Cuban sandwich.
That's what I was wondering, if it's like your regular Cuban, but
Not
it's
at
more
all.
of a twist.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's several twists in there. He does the half sour pickles, which are more traditional to Jewish delis as opposed to the dill pickles that are traditionally found in Cuban sandwiches. He does a sous vide pork loin in there that he slices by hand and pairs with the roast pork that he also roasts in-house. He makes the bread in-house. He does a house ground stone mustard instead of the yellow mustard, and when you put it all together, you know, it's recognizable as a Cuban, but it's something just completely different.
Now, what would you say, I mean, are we getting away from our total reliance on these national restaurant chains, which are good in a pinch because you know what to expect, but are we kind of departing from that a little bit?
I like to think we are. I think it takes a little bit of knowing, though, you know, so you have to kind of read up on the places and you know, you kind of have to ask around, and you're not necessarily going to find all these little places just by stumbling across them because you're driving down US 41. You know, it takes being just a little bit adventurous and going down the side street and, you know, checking out some of the lesser known places.
Like Sassy's, you would never find Sassy's.
Oh my gosh,
unless you were looking for it.
Right, exactly. And I mean, they've been there for 20 some years, you know, and I think, you know, over time, these places become institutional knowledge for people who live in Fort Myers. But if you don't live in Fort Myers, you definitely, you know.
I'll name drop another one. That's the Gathering Place.
Oh, I know. Those guys are amazing.
In that office plaza or something, you would never find it.
It's a nursing home turned business park. So technically, the Gathering Place is in the nurses' station of the old nursing home. They work miracles basically with a non-existent kitchen. They have some crock pots. They have an oven. I think they have a stovetop that they can do some sauteing on, but the quality of food.
See, I didn't know that. I never missed not having a full kitchen because the stuff is so great.
Exactly. You would never know.
And everything.
Yeah, I mean, they're completely. I'm pretty sure they don't have a hood, so everything's either baked or slow cooked or, you know, sauteed on the stovetop, which is like what you'd have at home, like a little 4-burner stovetop, but they kill it. They do good work there.
Well, if you ever need a partner in crime, count me in.
I know.
A lot of great restaurants in Lee County too. Thanks for being with us, Annabelle. Hope you come back. Mystery diners and critics have been a staple of newspaper food sections for years, giving readers a first-hand account of their restaurant experiences. But we never get to hear from the other side, the chefs and business owners on the receiving end of their critiques, until the news press decided to go back and ask what happens after being reviewed.
We were like a breakfast and lunch place when we first opened. Then we said we're going to open at night, and took off. I had to go out and buy dishes. I had to buy cups. I had to buy sauce, you know, plates and glasses and everything because we didn't expect it. And from that day, from that first review that he gave us, it just skyrocketed us to endless. And from that, you can tell I opened up another restaurant, which I'm getting successful at. If he comes into my restaurant, I try to look at all customers as critics now. That's what he made for me, because it makes you work better. It makes you put out the food better.
So I think there's some effort put into writing this review, a lot more than somebody writing a review on TripAdvisor or Yelp after just a one-time visit. He or she comes to the establishment several times. And he or she says so in the article when the review is done. Saying, well,
December 11th, 2009.
Yeah, it was a slow night actually, and we probably only had about 15, 20 people dining that night, and we had no idea what was happening until a few days later when the review was published. And I think I was at the house, and my wife says, "Look, look, look! We're in the paper!" But that really is what put us on the map. We had just opened basically 3 months before that. That was mid-September, early October when we opened, and we're doing okay. But you know, we had low budget for advertising, so we really didn't put too much effort into getting people in, and that review, which fortunately was an excellent review, put us on the map, and it really opened up the flow of traffic in the restaurant. And I can honestly say that the downfall of that was a good 6 months or so of public coming through the door. And you know, I remember some people coming in 6 months later with the article in their hand and say, "Oh yeah, we saw you in the news by Jean Leboeuf." You know, Jean Leboeuf must be French, by the way, with a name like that. You had to come and review the French restaurant, you know.
Coming up later in the show, a look at a new offering from one of the country's top spice producers, based in Fort Myers. Stay with us.
Life here is amazing, and so is the joint care. At the Total Joint Center at Physicians Regional Healthcare System, we've changed the experience of joint replacement for good. With our comprehensive joint care program, most hip and knee replacement patients return home in just 2 days, because we know you want to get on with your active life. Pain-free living starts at Physicians Regional Medical Center, Collier Boulevard, and Physicians Regional Medical Center, Pine Ridge.
Hiring the right moving company is important. Best Moving and Storage is a family-owned and operated business serving Southwest Florida for over 22 years. From our free in-home estimate until the last piece of furniture is in your new place or stored in our climate-controlled warehouse, we treat you like family. Best Moving and Storage is fully licensed and insured, with all of our employees being certified drivers and packers. When it comes to protecting your treasured belongings, choose a company that's experienced and trustworthy. Call Best Moving and Storage today at 239-592-6565.
Is your auto insurance keeping pace with your life? Ask for a AAA Triple Check Insurance Review to see if your current policy is still a good fit. An agent will assess changes in your life, like new vehicles or drivers. Make sure you've got the right coverage and all the discounts you deserve. They'll also see how a AAA membership can round out your protection on the road. Plus, provide roadside assistance, discounts, free services, and vacation extras. Ask for your AAA Triple Check today.
If you suffer from urinary incontinence, you know how disruptive it can be. It's estimated tens of millions of Americans have this going problem. A number of treatments are out there, but one in particular is proving to be a stimulating solution. Here's the latest in this week's Positively Healthy. The loss of bladder control is a common and embarrassing problem, especially as we age.
Incontinence actually is a fairly big issue down here right now. It's the loss of urine, voluntary or involuntary.
Dr. Barkley Story is a board-certified urologist with Physicians Regional Medical Group. He often starts patients with medications to calm an overactive bladder, but many will need an intervention to combat their urges.
There is the classic, what they call InterStim device, that stimulates nerves that run to the bladder and sort of gives them sort of a feedback effect to calm it down.
An implantable device, the nerve stimulator stays inside you, providing constant feedback.
But a lot of people are a little hesitant to undergo that surgery or would like to see how it worked first. So there's a newer system called posterior tibial nerve stimulation, where you sort of get a mixture of both.
Commonly called PTNS, it requires several brief office visits and works on the same premise as the implantable device.
And we place a small acupuncture needle right behind your inside of your ankle, and I put a little electric charge to it. You don't feel anything.
Addressing the tibial nerve provides the feedback to help your body tune out the need to go.
The idea is that the nerves that control your bladder function enter your spine right next to these nerves that run your ankle. And so by feedbacking on these nerves, we kind of piggyback into the spine and sort of calm everything down.
It takes a series of treatments to get full benefit, and many patients find long-term relief without the hassle of surgery.
Ideally, the individual who's tried overactive bladder medications, who have not had the success they want on them, and they really would like to try anything else.
Southwest Florida has a long history of food production, much of it centered in Immokalee. Known for its farms, the area is also home to cattle ranches and cowboys to tend to the herds. Last weekend, they were both on parade right through the center of town.
this is a piece of old Florida, and participating in something that you just don't see any longer. It used to be commonplace, and it's not any longer. And I'm proud of my family heritage, and I'm proud of Florida's cattle history, and this is an opportunity to be a part of it, and there are not too many more opportunities. This is truly a unique event.
Try to lead these guys. We try to get them in the right positions to do the right things and make it as easy on the cattle as we can. We're not rough on cattle because cattle are our living, so we try to treat them as good as we can.
My family lives in Collier County in Golden Gate Estates, and our ranch is 8 miles east of Immokalee. It felt like you were living almost two different personalities as a kid, because one day you'd be at the beach with your friends fishing, and the next day you're out at the ranch with Dad, roping calves, doctoring, vaccinating, cutting roads through the woods, just doing all sorts of stuff. So you just kind of flip-flop, and it's right in your backyard, and so many people don't even know about it.
Today, of course, we're shopping malls and Disney World and highways, but you know, this is our history. Our history is not Disney World and gated communities. Our history is cattle for the last 500 years.
I tell kids all the time that you may find something to make more money than me, but you'll never find a job to make you happier.
Here's a taste of other stories we're covering on The Beat. Guys?
Thanks, Amy. So this week we're taking a look at wood storks in Big Corkscrew Preserve. After a couple of down years and years of really struggling, the birds seem to be doing very well this year. And the thriving population seems to be due to Hurricane Irma, of all things. Irma brought in more water and encouraged the birds to start nesting earlier than they normally would have, before the dry season really came into effect. And that result is the eggs seem to be doing great, and so find out more about that at naplesnews.com.
Hi, I'm Shelby Reynolds. I'm a features reporter at the Naples Daily News. This week I got to try paddleboard yoga for my weekly column called Beat Me at the Gym, where I try different group workout classes around town and then write about my experience. My instructor Jody teaches this class every Sunday morning at Wiggins Pass State Park. Usually they go out to the sandbar, so the paddleboard's actually anchored in the sand, but if the water's too choppy, then they will go to the boat channel. So I was a little nervous going into it because I was afraid the paddleboard would be too hard to balance, but Jody instructed me that anybody can do it no matter your experience level. So you can read about my experience in Tuesday's Naples Daily News or online at naplesnews.com.
Hi, I'm Ashley Collins. I'm a reporter with the Collier Citizen. This past week, I got a chance to work on a story about Naples nonprofit Grace Place for Children and Families. They broke ground in February on a new building, the 6th building on the 5-acre campus in East Naples. And this building will provide arts and exercise classes for families and children, low-income families and children that participate in the educational programs offered there on campus. To see the renderings for the building and to check out more on what this new building will provide for the community, visit naplesnews.com.
I'm Harriet Heithouse, arts and entertainment writer for the Naples Daily News and naplesnews.com. We've had all kinds of international stars and international art coming in. Now it's time to concentrate on Florida. Artist Paul Arsenault took historical paintings out to Ave Maria for a full retrospective on Florida's history as he sees it. The Naples Art Association has added photos and art from Florida artists and all about Florida. Read about them both in today's Naples Daily News and naplesnews.com.
Coming up, brews you can boast about. Craft beers from Southwest Florida get recognized for their good taste. That's ahead on Behind the Headlines.
The area's only 30 minutes or less ER service pledge means you'll find less waiting for the care you need. And because we're full service hospitals, a lot more care if you need it. Less waiting, faster care. Only at Physicians Regional Healthcare System.
My name is Steve Unser, and cabinetry is my specialty. I have been creating custom designed cabinetry for 20 years in Southwest Florida. And now I am celebrating the grand opening of our new Naples showroom. Steve Unser Cabinetry will help you design your kitchen, bath, or home office with stunning results, offering the best quality of cabinets with a wide variety of design options and pricing to fit any budget. If your kitchen isn't becoming to you, you should be coming to us. Now, 2 locations to serve you.
You could say a local business has been spicing things up for more than 30 years. Based in Fort Myers, Mermaid Spices makes and sells seasonings used by restaurants, with a sister company selling directly to consumers. And now they have something new on their plate. The makers of the popular Monkey Dust spice are getting into the healthy pasta business, producing several all-natural pastas out of their Fort Myers location. Owner Mike Assad is a third-generation spice merchant from Morocco who settled in Southwest Florida after working the trade in Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. As crazy as he is about spices, Assad is also a food innovator. The new pasta is vegan, made without milk, eggs, or soy, and comes in vibrant colors. It's now being rolled out at restaurant trade shows. You can find out more by logging on to news-press.com. Finally today, we focused a lot on food, but a handful of locally produced beers are getting some serious attention. Craft beers and breweries were front and center at the recent Best Florida Brew Championship in Tampa. Cape Coral's Big Blue Brewery took top honors, winning the title Best Brew Pub in Florida for 2018. There were 38 medal categories with more than 800 beers up for judging. It speaks to the growing popularity of craft brews. Big Blue is a small operation with a 5-barrel brew system. In addition to having the best pub, Big Blue also medaled for several of its beers. Fort Myers Brewery also won a handful of craft categories, as did other local breweries which are recognized for their beers on tap. You can read the full list and find out where to try them by going to news-press.com, searching keywords craft beer. That just about does it for this week's show, but we're going to leave you with a quick piece on food pics. If you think all the food snapping originated with social media, then you'd be wrong. People have been savoring and sharing images of their favorite foods for centuries. And you can always catch up on past shows by logging on to naplesnews.com. On the left-hand side under Quick Links, select Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. See you back here next week.
The detail that you all put into it, and I know it was your vision, and then and Velco, and the thing is about their background, you know, she was a meat trader, right? Is that right?
Yeah, meat and seafood trader.
For like 20 years.
For the last 20 years, yeah. And Velco and I have been in the international business for the last 20 years together. So putting our skills together, we took my vision and Velco's purchasing skills around the world.